Hey, what's up guys? In this episode, I'm going to explain what a tune is. But first, be sure to subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, check out a Patreon page. So you want more performance from your car, and everyone is telling you to get a tune. But you're not sure what that means. Tunes are essentially a reconfiguration of your car's software, with the end result being increased horsepower and torque. But tuning also goes beyond that. It's important to understand that all modern cars are heavily controlled and monitored by computers. Since the 80s, and I'm sure even earlier than that, certain aspects of the cars were controlled by a computer to some degree. As time went on, more and more functionality went from mechanical to digital. A great example of this are the gauges, which are no longer mechanically driven or even fed by a sensor directly, but instead managed by one or more of the car's computers. The most important computer is the one that controls the engine. You'll hear this referred to as ECU, ECM, PCM, and some others. The term will be different depending on the platform and who you're talking to, but the important part is they're all referring to the engine management. I personally use ECU, so sorry if you don't agree with that. What is engine management? Well, it's exactly that. The ECU has inputs and outputs. Inputs are from sensors like oil temperature, engine RPM, throttle position, boost levels, O2 sensors, NOx sensors, and so on. Modern cars can monitor hundreds of data points. The outputs control aspects like fuel injectors, ignition timing, boost control, rev limiters, valve and cam timing, and so forth. So the job of the ECU is to take in data, make decisions on what's going on, then tell the engine and related components what they need to be doing in response. The decisions the ECU makes depends on how it was programmed or tuned. If you took two identical engines, you could give them two different personalities just by changing the software on the ECU. For example, one could be configured for high power output, while the other could be configured for maximum fuel economy. An engine can be configured to do both, and actually there are cars on the market today that do exactly that. The software is the key to everything, and when you hear the term tune or tuning, it refers to the software and changing the parameters the software uses to control how the engine behaves. So what types of parameters does the tune change? Well, that depends on the platform, the hardware's capabilities, and the tuner. Some of the more common parameters are rev limiter, ignition timing, fueling to adjust or correct air-fuel ratio, change the boost levels, change the valve timing, change fan kick-on temperatures, even increasing or removing the speedometer governor. There are also features that tuners can add in, like launch control, boost by gear, select a tune, and safety features like richening the air-fuel ratio when knock is detected, or even removing features like torque management. Again, these all depend on the platform, its capabilities, and the tuner, so be sure you do your own research for your specific car and setup. Another important computer is the computer that controls the automatic transmission. These are referred to as TCU or TCM. Again, it depends on the platform and who you're talking to. When referring to tuning the transmission, it's the same as tuning the ECU, except the goals here are to improve shift points and remove certain features like gear lockout and adaptive learning. If you've ever driven a car with a horrible shifting automatic, it can most likely be solved or at least significantly improved through a tune. Tuning is important when you're looking to maximize your power output, but tuning is also necessary when you're upgrading or changing out parts. Certain parts work differently and have different characteristics than the parts that you're replacing. Because of this, tuning is necessary in order for the ECU to be able to work with these different parts. A great example of this is fuel injectors. You can't just install bigger injectors and expect the ECU to know how to use them. Injectors might look the same, but they have varying operational parameters that the ECU needs to know about in order to correctly adjust for fueling. Another great example is installing an atmospheric blow-off valve on a car that uses a mass airflow sensor. This requires a tune because now you've changed the airflow versus what the ECU has metered and adjusted the fueling for. So as you can see, it's not always about simply slapping in or just bolting on new parts. There are different ways of tuning and different tune options, which we'll get into in future episodes. But to sum it up, tuning is basically changing the parameters a software uses to control the engine and/or transmission behavior, with the goal usually being to increase performance, make the software understand how to work correctly with different parts, or add features the car didn't originally come with. Alright, that's it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes, and if you like this video, click that like button or leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.